Hello, this is a discourse on the book Christ in You. And today we'll be studying the 6th lesson of part 2 called The True Selfishness. And I am Angel Christ Child, and I'll be joined today by my friend who's here with me now. Hello, friend, welcome.
Yes, hello, welcome. And we'll have actually it's kind of a short lesson, but another really good lesson called The True Selfishness.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The true selfishness.
Right.
So starts out here, be of good courage, for all is well. And right off there, the first sentence is a good reference to a Bible verse here, Psalms 27:14.
Okay.
Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord to guide you, maybe? Wait for the Lord to tell you where to go or what to do?
I think it's about having faith that the Lord is going to work in a way that's for our highest good. And so trusting and having faith.
Yes, definitely. Definitely that. I would agree with that.
And it's continuing, God dwelleth in you, and this is the chief eternal truth. I know you are progressing because already you can command right thoughts and dismiss inharmonious ones. Results will follow, and now you will learn discrimination. It is not given to all to be able to judge others, but content yourself when tempted to judge with praying for them as you evolve. Your prayers will be fraught with healing because you are learning to pray aright.
Right. Well, this is important, that your thoughts and your thought system and the progressing that we're making. And you know the line, I know you are progressing because already you can command right thoughts and dismiss inharmonious ones. And you know, I think that goes on for a lot of the life. It certainly does in mine, where it is necessary to continue to keep dismissing them, the inharmonious ones. But there's a nice little quote from A Course in Miracles that we refer to in these discourses. And I'll just read that for you now, friend and listeners. If you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system and open it up to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you back to God. And that's from a section in the text called Right Teaching and Right Learning. So I certainly open and when the Course says to me, it means Jesus. Jesus is the first person in the Course in Miracles. And when it says, content yourself when tempted to judge with praying for them, and as you evolve, your prayers will be fraught with healing because you are learning to pray aright. And in the Course it says, we said that prayer is always for yourself, and this is so. Why then do you pray for others at all? And if you should, how should you do it? Praying for others, if rightly understood, becomes a means of lifting your projections of guilt from your brother and enabling you to recognize it is not he who must be relinquished. It is not he that is hurting you. The poisonous thought that he is your enemy, your evil counterpart, your nemesis, must be relinquished before you can be saved from guilt. So for this is the means is prayer. So in order to relinquish, this is the type of prayer we have to make. So for this, the means is prayer of rising power and ascending goals until it reaches even up to God. And that's from a section of A Course in Miracles called the Song of Prayer. Prayer, and then a section called Praying for Others. And since the Course teaches that there is no others, it's kind of interesting. Only within the illusion is there others.
So you could think of praying for someone else as praying for another aspect of your own self to be embraced and released from guilt and separation and disharmony and brought back to a right kind of wholeness and
Yes.
harmony.
Yeah. Because like it says, we said that prayer is always for yourself, and it is so. So even when you're praying for someone else, you're praying for yourself, because in fact, we're all one. And that's the truth of the matter. And it is a fragment of yourself, as the Course in Miracles explains it, that you are condemning or calling your evil counterpart, your nemesis. You know, really, if you think about it, it starts to make a little bit of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. If we were trained this way, if only we were taught this way when we've been taught a different way for a lot of us for so long. It seems like a different concept, foreign concept sometimes.
Very foreign.
But I could see it's logical. I mean, if we're all one, then
Exactly.
we should come together as one, right? As opposed to like having separations and divisions and
Yep.
evil and good and
Right.
conflict.
In conflict, yeah. Quite so. But that's why A Course in Miracles also includes a 1 year of lessons for every day, because this is the Course in Mind training. And I know a lot of people who keep doing these lessons for years and decades to try to retrain their minds, think differently. And it's pretty difficult to do that for some people, and other people get it right away. And there's other people like me that understand it logically, but I find it hard to emotionally feel a lot of the truth in the Course and the wisdom in the Bible, but still acting on it, even though I may not feel, I act on it. So.
Well, a lot to take in with that one or two sentences there.
It's, this book really packs a punch, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, and then it says, be of good courage, which is the first sentence of the lesson. So it's repeating, be of good courage.
Yes.
Evil is friendly and has beneficent purpose. So man becomes godlike because he rises through and out of evil, just as the plants emerge from the soil.
I find that really interesting, that we become godlike by rising up and out of evil.
It's like saying it's a great triumph, like winning an Olympic medal or something.
Yeah. It is, and I think, he's talked about this several times in the book. And I believe that's our purpose, is to rise up and out of evil and become more godlike. It's a very important purpose for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It goes to the to the nature analogy then of a plant or a seed emerging
Mhm.
soil.
Yes.
Continuing here, it says, every good is closely imitated in the false dream world. And one of the imitations is called selfishness. This is a divine instinct, and you cannot and should not uproot it, but learn always that these delusions of sense have behind them a truth of God.
Mm.
Let us discover the true and holy selfishness.
Yes.
So it's saying, it's kind of like talking about selfishness in this chapter, in this lesson, and what it has meant in our like in our ego-based delusion,
Yeah.
but what it really should be and is meant to be.
Mhm. Yeah, because later on we're gonna learn that to give is to get, and to get is to give. It's all the same.
Yeah. Well, it's continuing here. Man's first instinct is self-interest, self-protection. Even in spiritual things, you are constantly seeking to acquire for yourself, but you require healing of the body, a rich mind, a true life.
Hmm.
This is a God-given instinct, and you are to get, but learn that to get is to give.
Well,
So,
that's an interesting concept, isn't it? Learning that to give is to get.
mhm.
And of course, a miracle says, remember that spirit knows no difference between having and being. The higher mind thinks according to those laws spirit obeys, and therefore honors only the laws of God. To spirit, getting is meaningless and giving is all. Having everything, spirit holds everything by giving it. Thus, it creates as the Father created. So for me, that statement means that spirit gives. It doesn't need to get because it's all in all. It already has everything. So there's nothing that the spirit can get because it has everything already.
Mm,
So if you had everything in the world, you couldn't really get anything. You could get a repeat, I guess, but so this is what the spirit means. We give and we hold more as we give. He talked about that too with respect to healing, that we are giving in order to become healed.
mm.
Mm.
Or just giving to other aspects of ourselves that need that maybe we are not embracing fully, or we have banished as like evil bad.
Yes.
But that dynamic, we're going to somehow move beyond that dynamic, or we need to move beyond that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's emerging from this dark soil, right? Into
Right.
like a plant emerges into the lights.
Rising up and out of the evil to become more godlike. Yes. Okay.
Continuing here, the true law of giving is to benefit all, and thus you bring good to yourself, which, remember, is the great and only self.
The one self.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Let us begin by a simple explanation. I use the language of earth that you may understand. For you know already that material things have no real existence, that your thought of them is their only reality.
Mm.
You desire health of body. Let us teach you how to obtain it the true way. You begin at once to send out healing currents to someone in a lower condition than yourself. And immediately you have made a pathway by which your own shall come to you. Your first thought, I see, is how can I heal when sick myself? The first time you try it, you'll understand that the very effort of faith required is the beginning of your own healing. The larger love going out to others doubles your own joy in the long run.
That was my experience as a healer myself. I was a very reluctant healer. And I was sick myself. And in reaching out to others and healing with them, I learned about healing my own self, which was very valuable. So I really confirmed that idea.
And this is going to be a powerful sentence here. It's put in italics.
Mm-hmm.
It says, true getting is always by way of sacrifice.
You hardly ever see italics in this book.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say about the true getting is always by way of sacrifice. And of course, Miracle says, the gifts you offer to the ego are always experienced as sacrifices, but the gifts you offer to the kingdom, with a capital K, kingdom of heaven, are gifts to you. They will always be treasured by God because they belong to his beloved sons who belong to him. And that's from a chapter of the text called Totality of the Kingdom. And basically, oh, and there's another one too I want to share with you, friend. When a brother acts insanely, which is he's believing in the insanity of separation, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours. You need the blessing you can offer to him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God and has no exceptions. And that's from that same section, the totality of the kingdom. So in truth, you know, the idea of giving as a sacrifice is ego. It's not, you know, I said earlier about the sacrifice isn't real because spirit gives, right, and doesn't need to get. So the sacrifice belongs to the illusion, not the truth. The illusion of the life we're living now. Because in truth, there is no sacrifice because you're sacrificing to yourself. But the ego have us believe that it's a sacrifice. So. But in fact, it's not. In truth, it isn't.
Yeah, it's a powerful word. And a misunderstood concept of really more Old Testament kind of stories that say, well, you have to make a sacrifice to the angry God.
Right. Yeah.
God isn't really angry with us.
No, not at all. No. He doesn't need our blood sacrifices. Or she. God doesn't have the sex. So anyway, we don't want to go off on that tangent. So let's keep going, friend.
Well, there is a good verse around this this sentence that's italicized. It's Acts 20:35.
Oh, yes.
In everything I did, I showed you that by this kind of hard work, we must help the weak, remembering the words the Lord Jesus himself said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive."
Mm.
So Jesus himself said giving is better, actually.
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, you got to be careful with that though, because I used to be well, I still am quite a giving person, and I found that I had to really teach myself how to take care of myself and give to myself.
Mhm.
And that's important, especially for us mothers. There's a lot of people out there who just don't take the time and give the energy needed to take care of themselves, because then of course you're, like I always told people in my therapy practice, you give to yourself and then you fill up your cup and give to others, which is kind of the idea here too, where you're, when you're looking for healing and you heal someone else first, you're the healing is being channeled through you. So I think, probably some of it sticks to you. But you still have to take care of yourself too. It's not an either or, it's both.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Yeah, that's two double-edged kind of a way that we can look at things.
Yes.
And it says, "This is a simple thing to know, but it is the key to all true healing of mind, body, or estate. For all have truly given you, for all you have truly given, you will receive double. But you do not render to the Lord that which costs nothing to you."
Mm. I see.
That's interestingly. It's almost saying like when you do give, basically the story here. That's because there's a Bible reference here. When you do give, it shouldn't be that it just was completely just nothing to you. Like, oh, yeah, here is like one penny of help,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Doesn't hurt.
yeah. This story was in the Bible. Well, the Bible verse itself that it's referring to is 2 Samuel 24:24. But the king replied to Ahura, "No, I insist on paying you for it. I will not sacrifice to the Lord my God burnt offerings that cost me nothing."
Uh-huh.
So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen and paid 50 shekels of silver for them.
I'm assuming that's a lot of silver shekels.
And the whole story behind that was that David had marshaled the resources of Israel and all the fighting men of Israel to
Mm-hmm.
overriding his own general's advice to go and expand the territory, and lost people in the battles and what have you. And then he realized, oh man, the damage is that's been wrought when we had a good peaceful kind of existence in our land
Yeah.
that we were enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
Really started to take on more. And
Yeah. Greed.
then the prophet came to him and said, well, three things could happen. You could be like chased down by your enemies. There could be something else bad might happen, and a plague could happen. And David was like, oh, please, not the one where my enemies like chase me down and hunt me down. And the story goes that there was a plague, pretty big plague, that wiped out like nearly a tenth of the population.
Yeah.
And so this is why David was wanting to make a sacrifice to the Lord to ease the calamity.
pretty complicated situation. But he hopefully learned something from that that was useful for him to learn.
I think all that was wrapped up in that Old Testament kind of way of viewing sacrifice as to appease an angry God.
Yeah.
But I think the book is trying to say, well, it's a story, all right? So it's a story,
Mhm.
the true kernel of truth within the story that is not part of a delusion sense mind, but is part of like a divine, harmonious way of viewing this story is that something along the lines of, and I'm still grappling with it myself, but see what you think, but that whatever is given should be of some substantive value to
Value, right.
some, maybe just your
Mhm.
feeling emotion behind it,
Yeah.
or your genuine interest in sending a prayer to somebody who is caught in the illusion and is maybe having conflict within themselves or with others.
Mhm. I'm just wondering too, listening to you speak, that maybe the value that you would be assigning to the gift that you're giving would be the love that you are offering, the spiritual love and understanding. Maybe that would be the value.
Mm.
And, to be able to develop that is at great cost
Mm.
to many people, because it really does lead you to give up a lot of what you thought was important in this illusion or in your life, which is an illusionary life, right?
Mhm.
Well, maybe that's what it's talking about, friend.
Wow, that sounds pretty right. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're praying for your enemies, your so-called frenemies,
Mm.
or somebody that's hurt you and caused you a lot of pain.
Mhm.
There would be a cost to that. I do that myself quite often. So,
Mm. Wow. So you're putting it into practice then, these.
yes, sir, I certainly am. I'm doing that for many years. And it does have a cost. It is hard to overcome the fear and the anger at times, but I think that's why we're here. One of the very important reason why we're here.
Oh, it's a lot to think about.
Too.
Says here, in the sight of God, no gift has been blessed to your own soul unless you have willingly given from your heart and blessed the gift by your love.
Mm,
So what you're saying is the love, the intention of the love behind it, even towards what you might think is not very lovable.
yes. From people who you really don't love. Yeah. But true.
You may have wealth untold, though unmanifest to the mortal eye.
Mm.
Maybe that goes along with his saying that you're building up treasures in the eternal, in heaven.
Yes, there's a lot of talk about treasure in this book and also in A Course in Miracles and also in the Bible.
Mm.
And we're not going to see that with the mortal eye. It's like we're learning lessons in this playground that we were sent to grow up and out of evil and become more godlike. And in the meantime, we're amassing treasures too. Mm.
A good practice each day is to bless and heal everyone in the house. Begin at once, knowing only the great self, remembering the need of all in the house. Your own Lord will reveal each need. Be resolute, be positive, and above all, full of hope and love. If the unseen become visible at such times, include them. Only send out, give, give, give. I tell you that this is your real getting, your real healing.
Yes. So that's very interesting, isn't it? The idea of the unseen becoming seen as you pray. I assume that meant the unseen people in your life that you loved could manifest and become seen. And include them too. Interesting.
Like these people come to your mind as also needing this love as you're praying, and then you're like, oh, I want to extend this out to this other person too, and this person too.
Right. Right. Interesting, huh?
So the Spirit reveals to you more and more. Do you not see that I am helping you to one of the richest possessions, that you may become a center of healing? Spirit, the pure flame, burning up the dross, the soul, the link, holding all the physical powers, and the body, showing the true beauty of the Lord, the true beauty of holiness.
So there's a lot here in this paragraph. I wanted to point out that you could become the center of healing, as it says, because the Course says every healing thought that you accept, either from your brother or in your own mind, teaches you that you are God's son. In every hurtful thought you hold, wherever you perceive it, lies the denial of God's fatherhood and of your own sonship. And that's from a place in the text called The Invitation to Healing. So that's that's a very powerful statement. Each time you come from love and healing, you accept that you're a son of God, and every hurtful thought, you're turning that away from yourself.
It's a big deal in terms of what you focus and hold in your mind and your attention, and what the result is going to be in terms of what you may prefer for yourself, even because by giving or projecting out love, you're going to be giving yourself love. If you're expelling equal angriness, then since there's no separation, you're just really leaving yourself separated from.
And it occurs to me too that when you're giving out anger, you're actually giving anger back to yourself, and it's most likely from some past hurt that you were unable to resolve, that was inflicted on you by somebody, something, or someone else. So you would just be reliving that and living the anger and denying God. So you're really just putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Still fun?
No, not at all. And you have to use the word forgiveness right here too, about the anger that we've felt. And that helps a lot when you see it as it truly is, a denial of God. That helps. It helps to heal it. And I want to say something too about the burning up of the dross, which is some toxin that comes out of silver when they're making silver, the dross. And it refers to, in this context, refers to burning up of negativity and separate thoughts. that people have within their disillusion and replace it with positive qualities of character and righteousness that is forged in the service of God by being forged in the fire of the evil that we're rising out of.
That's amazing. That's an amazing analogy.
Mm. And you know, the physical and the body showing the beauty of God by truly healing itself. And a lot of people who study A Course in Miracles, I know for a fact, don't appreciate the beauty of healing your body to show God's love and power. You know, despite the fact that there's quite a bit of talk about healing in A Course in Miracles, somehow there's a disconnect there where a lot of people just don't seem to understand that we are given this information in order to heal our body, not to make the body important or to make it, you know, part of our salvation or whatever. It isn't. It's our vehicle. So it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. You know, in here and in the Course in Miracles, instant healing. There's many topics that are spoken about in the Course about healing. So we've got that one last line to read there, my friend.
Sentence all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Says, again, I ask that you put these lessons into practice. So the hardest part for last, right?
Yes, it is. It's the most challenging part, putting things into practice. It's much easier to hold on to the anger of the illusion. But it's not logical. Totally illogical and insane. Come on. Well, thank you for joining me once again, friend, for the 6th lesson in part 2. And it has been indeed always a very interesting and informative lesson with a lot of action component in this one specifically. And I hope that our friends out there and listening to these videos will take action and start to pray, right? You know, on behalf of the work, the principalities and the work we do for God, for Jesus. Any final words, friend?
Our physical life is a time of putting things in practice, in hands-on, like a woodworking analogy, or you can read a book about woodworking, but
Yeah.
to actually learn about woodworking and experience it,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get practical, get down to practical, working with your hands, working with the wood.
Practical experience, right? Very true. Good point. Well made. Well, thank you, friend, and thank you, listeners, and join us again for the next lesson, which should also prove to be very experiential and helpful. It's a short one. It's called The 7th Lesson in Part 2, Dwell Deep. And I'm sure it'll be full of a lot of amazing wisdom. So until then, goodbye for now.
All right, goodbye. Good week.